Hello and welcome. I'm Giovanni Hall Art, and I'm back again. I'll just be finishing this drawing up, just finishing the gold trimming at the top. I'll be posting the final work on my Instagram, Blue Sky, Tumblr, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, and Patreon for more exclusive stuff. All right. So I'll also be listening to our Mango podcast as I'm working in the background. Let's get into it.
They are. I guess the official terminology would be a safety deposit box. But these are typically hidden away. These little secret boxes are hidden away inside these bank vaults across the United States. And you could say lots of people go there to hide away their expensive stuff, their watches, jewelry, cash. They just stick them in there and no robber can come get them. Things that they don't feel secure keeping in their homes, they go in the safety deposit box. But a lot of the times, you open these little boxes up because you have a secret. It's like a spouse hiding cash from another spouse. Is it for good reason? We don't know. A family man hiding documents that might include the existence of a second family, that's going in the safety deposit box. He's not going to put that in a shoebox at the bottom of his closet. Usually, you never really have the chance to open someone else's secret box because that's the whole point. They're jumping through all of these hoops to make sure it stays secret, unless they're dead. Then it's a whole process. Depending on what state you live in and your will, let's just say if you die under suspicious circumstances, like if you were, let's say, killed in your living room by the little boy that you assaulted, only he's not so little anymore, he's a full-grown man with a knife, then yeah, most likely that safety deposit box is going to be opened under the watchful supervision of authorities and very tense, very awkward bank employees. In Dennis Pegg's safety deposit box, they find a ton of letters, handwritten letters. None of the letters are particularly insightful. He doesn't spill all of his secrets to confess anything, but the letters are really creepy. First of all, he wrote these letters 10 years before he dies while he's a relatively healthy, slightly middle-aged man. Typically, men of that age are not fully estate planning with handwritten letters to everyone that they deem special in their lives. And the letters themselves are strange. They all contain variations of the phrase, "Pray for me if you can," which, if they're reading his letters, he's already dead. And "Forgive me for my faults. I've forgiven you for yours. You were always like a little special son to me or a little brother to me." It's just letter after letter in that safety deposit box, most likely written for his victims. Victims who, after their abuser is dead, will be delivered a handwritten letter asking them to pray for their abuser. In part one, we went over the night of the killing where Clark, after 33 years of not doing anything about Dennis Pegg, his abuser, when he was 12, he decides he's gonna do something now. He goes to Dennis Pegg's house after 30 plus years. Dennis sees him at the front door holding a hunting knife that, ironically, Dennis taught Clark how to sharpen. And all he says is, "Hey, how are you?" Clark is slashing at him, slitting his throat, stabbing him countless times, and then finally he spits on his bed before walking out. Clark's mom tries to help him get away with murder. She's like, "We gotta go on the run." But he decides he's gonna stay. And that is when the police come for him. They arrest Clark, and now he's going to prison where he's gonna be placed in the cells with the types of people that he hates the most. One of them that he's already killed. Those are child predators. In part two, we're going to cover Clark's time in prison, how he survived, all the strange details about what it means when your fellow cellmate keeps flushing his head down the toilet, and how Clark is now a free man. We also go into depth about what happened to his brother, another victim of Dennis Pegg who ends up being killed by Dennis, and what even happened in those 33 years between Dennis Pegg abusing Clark and Clark killing Dennis for what he's done. Why did the FBI come to find Clark? How does he get involved with the mob, the mafia? Also, the fact that Dennis Pegg has likely close to 100 victims, including his own grandnephew who self-exits soon after Dennis Pegg's murder, and somehow, throughout all of this, the one person that Clark cannot stop thinking about is a woman named Lisa. So what role does Lisa play in all of this? This is part two, the final part of our interview with Clark Fredericks. All of those questions will be answered in this part of the episode, but there are still so many details and stories that Clark has to share that you can find in his memoir, Scarred, or by following him on his social media and by checking out his podcast. So with that being said, let's get into part two. You've been reached out by the IRS, the FBI, and Homeland Security?
That's correct.
Were you counting cards?
I studied counting cards, but I found it to get a little distracting. This is going to sound weird.
Okay.
You know, I would go to the casinos and I would walk the casino floor and I would get a vibe for a table. And I'd be like, this is the table. And I'd just get a feeling for it. And I would gamble and I would get a feeling like, all right, it's time to up your bet. And I had an unbelievable, like, 4 or 5 year run in the casinos that was just astronomical. I'm working in the tire automotive field making $700 a week. And I'm down in Atlantic City winning tens of thousands of dollars left and right.
And you're just putting cash in your closet?
In my briefcase in my closet.
This goes on for how many years?
This was a distraction from my pain.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not like it's not like I consciously said, I have trauma from being abused as a child. I need to gamble to distract myself.
Yeah.
It was just, I'm uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable. It's my trauma in there making me feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable and I need something to distract me from that uncomfortable feeling. I need pleasure.
Thank you for the follow.
I became a
Appreciate
pleasure
that.
seeker.
Oh, welcome everybody.
Don't address anything. Don't ever go
Thanks for the
inside.
follow.
Let's just seek pleasure our whole life, whether it's drugs, gambling, whatever it may be. Seek pleasure. So that's what I was doing with gambling.
Like, what is the most you've lost?
Most I lost was $75,000.
And do you feel it in that moment? Like, I just lost 75,000.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
You
okay.
can't sleep. It's just acid is awash in your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the high you get from losing is just, it distracts you from everything, just like the high from winning.
You start by reading books about gambling, and then somehow you end up being very superstitious.
Yeah, I mean, I went down there just on a whim, like
Okay.
bored with life.
That's crazy.
And
Thank you for the
won
follow. Appreciate
1,700.
that.
Went back,
Raccoon.
won 2,200. But I was getting yelled at at the
Thanks for the
blackjack
follow.
table because
Appreciate
I didn't
that.
know what I was doing, but I was still winning. So I'm like, I'm not going to go back until I know what the hell I'm doing. And I would always hear
Thanks,
all the
Kristen, for the
screaming
follow.
at the
Appreciate
craps
that.
table. It sounded like a blast. So I had no idea how to play craps. So I took like 6 months. I got 5 deck of cards. I read
Okay,
all
give you
these
some
books on
back.
blackjack. I read books on craps. I would throw dice in my room. I would play all the hands of blackjack. I'd pick which one I am and see how it would affect things, my decisions. And I did that for 6 months until I felt comfortable to go back down. And then just like, boom, you know, like 17,000, 28,000, 30,000. It just went boom, 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 boom.
Is it true that, like, if you win or lose, you could blame it on the fact that you stepped on a crack? Like, is that, like, genuinely what starts happening, or?
Those little quirks didn't start right away, but as you start winning more and more and more, you start thinking, all right, what did I do? Like, all right, I better not step on any cracks. like I don't even know where it came from. Like, it was just like, boom, like, all right, what did I do in the days leading up to going to the casino? Like, oh, when I went up the stairs, I jumped that second stair and then that, like I skipped 2 stairs there. So like then I would have to go up the stairs a certain way. And then I couldn't step on any cracks on pavement. Like, and then, like where they paint the blue handicapped spots with the wheelchair, I'm like, that's bad luck. Don't ever step on that. And then when I would get to the casino, there was a whole other ritual, like for rolling the dice. It would, I would have to tap it a certain number of times, and in my knee, I would have to hit the table with my knee a certain number of times before I could roll the dice. And it was like, it just started getting more and more and more and more insane.
You start at the casinos, but then you get involved with the mob.
Yeah. Another brilliant decision.
Okay, so you get involved with the mob. How much do you owe the mob?
It was because I needed action every day of the week to distract myself from feeling uncomfortable. So like I couldn't wait to the weekends to go gamble. I needed something. What am I going to do Monday through Friday?
Yeah.
So it came about that I could, through a bar, I could start sports betting every day of the week. And I was given a no limit bet. So like I could bet as much as I wanted, as often as I wanted. In 6 months, I was...
The new DQ Fall Treat Menu. Enjoy them all before they're gone.
broke, like lost everything. And in that last week, I was down 20,000 and I didn't have it. Now you would think, all right, it's time to walk away, Clark. But no. I'm going to get that 20,000 back if I can, plus some. So I called the number that I called to place my bets, and I said, hey, I got to move some money around. Can you let me carry that 20,000 over for another week? And they're like, for you, anything. I'm like, okay. So I go into that next week, 20 in the hole, and I'm like, I got to get that 20 back. Plus, I want to keep gambling, so I need to win on top. So I just start making really stupid bets. And when the week ended, I was 77,000 in the hole to the mob.
So when you were gambling in casinos, you were making money.
Yeah.
How much were you making?
Oh, hundreds. I mean, my largest win was 153,000. And that was after losing 3 times on the craps table where I had 20 to 30,000 at a clip up there.
Wow.
So I was well over $250,000 just for that one time. But I mean, 50,000, 70,000. My host put me into a blackjack tournament for 75,000, winner take all. And he's like, I think you got this, bro. Your luck is unbelievable. I didn't win. I got knocked out about halfway through it, but I went to a high stakes blackjack table and I won 80,000. So like I won more than what the prize was.
So then you were like, okay, I'm going to do this with the mob. And then you're down 77,000. And now the mob is trying to kill you.
The mob is threatening me, threatening my life. The mob is telling me the best thing I could do for myself is to go rob a bank. The guy's like, look, if you get caught, you're looking at 5 to 10 years. You'd be a hell of a lot better off doing 5 to 10 years than what we're going to do to you. And they're calling me every day. And this was like a constant, dude, you got to go rob a bank. Like, what are you waiting on? Go rob a bank. Maybe you'll get away with it. You can give us money and hold us off. You get caught, you go do 5, 10 years. What's the big deal? You know, that was what they were constantly on.
Did you ever consider robbing a bank?
No.
Oh.
And then they called my family. They got my father's phone number. And they said, hey, old man, you want to save your son's life? You better pony up some money for him. I had already gone to my family to warn them. And sure enough, they called my father. Then they called my brother, who I used to be in business with. And they're like, your brother's in a lot of trouble. You have the power to save your brother's life. You can do that by paying us what he owes us. And I had told everybody to tell them, like, this is Clark's responsibility. He'll handle it with you. And that's what they both said. But it scared everybody to death.
Were you not scared?
Oh, yeah. It was the worst time in my life.
Okay.
It was horrible. I had a shotgun in my truck, loaded, that I drove around with. I had a baseball bat in my office. I was constantly on edge, like just to leave the house in the morning, I got to go to all the windows of the house and look out in the yard, behind the shed, see if anybody's out there, you know. the same thing, leaving my office, like I've got to like survey every. I was just hyper vigilant. Is what they call it, and I was hyper vigilant to the max.
So the mob is as scary as they're depicted in movies and books. Like they're intense.
Yeah, it was just angry, threatening phone calls almost on a daily basis, and I wasn't trying to like get out of. I wasn't trying to weasel out.
Yeah.
But I told them the only way I could make good on this is to set up a payment plan. And what I really could afford was $500 a month at the time, because I had a lot of debts to casinos. Casinos would all let me have, markers, $20,000 markers in them all. So I had all these markers I owed, and credit cards were maxed out. And so I'm trying to juggle everybody. So I told the guy, I can do 500 a month. And the guy went absolutely bananas. And he's like, $500 a month doesn't even cover the juice on $77,000. Like, you're out of your mind, bro. So it was a horrible time. And then I get a phone call after months of this. And it's them. And they don't ask for money. They just say, you're a dead man, and click and hang up. And then a couple months goes by after that where I'm completely like on edge, like can't sleep. You're always listening for every little sound. Like, is that somebody out there? And I get a call. At this point in time, we had 2 tire automotive centers. I had one and my brother had one. And I happened to be at my brother's store one day, and his office manager came in the back room and said, hey, there's a phone call for you. I'm like, who the hell's calling me over here? Nobody knows I'm here. He goes, I don't know. They asked for Clark. So I answered the phone, and the guy introduces himself as a special agent with the FBI. I need to meet you at your Newton location, the store I had, on Thursday at 3:00. And I'm like, well, bro, like, you got to tell me what this is about. He's like, no, I don't. He goes, I'll see you Thursday at 3:00. And he hangs up. And then your mind just goes like in a million directions, like I couldn't fathom what the FBI is coming to meet me for. Like I was doing some now and then, and I'm like, is the FBI going to try to pinch my dealer by put pressure in me? Like, I'm buying a gram of, like, when the FBI's getting involved on a gram of. So I had no idea what it was. And then the guy came to the store, and clearly was an FBI guy, and said they had an informant inside one of the major crime families who told them a hit had been put out on my life for my gambling debt. And if I didn't think it was real before then, that really made everything real.
But you still didn't snitch. You didn't cooperate with the FBI. You're like, well,
No, they wanted me to wear a wire. And I was like, are you out of your mind? like my life is hell right now. You want me to wear a wire and make it even worse? I go, and I told the FBI guy what I told the mob guy. I go, this is my problem, and I'm not running from it, and I'm going to deal with it. And the FBI guy said, well, that's very noble of you, but if things get too heavy for you, here's my card. You can call me.
Wait, what did the FBI guy offer you at first? He said, wear a wire and we will help you? Or
Yeah. It's not like, like, we'll solve your problem by taking these guys down. And I'm like, no, this is my problem, and I'm not going to compound it by wearing a wire.
Wow. Is it because that you scared that wearing a wire is more dangerous than...
That's just not the type of person I was. Like, it wasn't in my DNA to become a little weasel snitch wearing a wire. Like,
Interesting.
Like, no, it's not who I am.
wow.
Wow.
It's all in the book.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you, because I know the FBI, Homeland Security, and IRS Criminal Division reach out. If you had to rank them in intensity, who was the scariest agency? Because a lot of experience that.
Division of Homeland Security, I'd say, is at the bottom.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Boy, the
They're gonna call you
FBI and the IRS did a full audit on me. They thought I was money laundering because I was putting in all this cash from the gambling winnings into my bank account. That was a nightmare doing
You
that.
didn't just tell them you're that good. They're like, no, we don't.
Well, that's that's what I eventually got to that point with them, but there's laws for trying to skirt the $10,000 notification rule, dummy me, like somebody said, oh, if you put in under $10,000 deposit, it doesn't get recorded or notified. So I'm like, oh, cool. So 9,800, 9,700.
70 square inches of
Oh,
non-stick grilling.
welcome.
What a steal.
9,600, 9,700, 9,800, 9,200, 9,400, 9,800, like nonstop. And then that sets off all the red flags. And so, yeah, that was a nightmare too.
So IRS or FBI, who's scarier?
I think when you're told a hit's been put out on your life and a confidential informant, that's the top of the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like in your 30s. But it does seem like after everything that Dennis did, there were signs in your childhood
Thanks for the likes. Appreciate that,
where
guys.
a lot of psychiatrists later say it seemed like you're crying for help, like trying to get help in a way. Playing with fire, is that one of them?
Yeah, I became a little firebug.
What is it about fire? Because I see that a lot in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I think it has to do with control, and it's an outlet for anger
Excuse me.
from what happened.
So you're just like lighting matches, or are you lighting things on fire?
Yeah, I lit our house. We had this screened-in patio
Thanks for the
bar
likes.
area
Appreciate
out
that.
back, and I lit the corner of that on fire. And like guys happened to show up that were going to be painting the house, and like the screened-in porch things on fire. Like it had been smoldering overnight and caught on fire when they got there. And we had a huge backyard and raked the leaves into a
Excuse me.
pile where the swing set was, and you'd swing off into the leaves. Well, I just took a can of gas all over the leaves and set it on fire, and this big fire exploded. And
These are big fires. Okay.
so yeah, and then another sign of abuse is shoplifting. And I got caught shoplifting, and it's the same thing. It's an outlet for anger and pain. It's a control issue. So those were signs, and I started smoking pot like right after the abuse. 12 years old, started smoking pot, drank heavily in high school, got suspended for coming in drunk. Got caught on a class trip to the Jersey Shore, drinking on a bench with two other buddies, and the chaperone teachers come up behind us and like, seriously, guys. My principal threatened me that I wouldn't graduate with the class if at the prom he even had the hint of alcohol on my breath.
Did you ever feel frustrated that these teachers are saying these things to you, but they don't like recognize what is underneath that behavior? Was there any sort of frustration or anger towards them?
No, I'm there was a thing with the essay I wrote, which is unbelievable. I would hope that times have changed, and your audience, in the book they'll see this essay I wrote, and I put a lot of stuff in there in this essay that was It just screams, I've been abused,
Yeah.
like I need help and I've been abused.
Clover, thanks for
And,
following.
the
Appreciate
teacher
that.
gave me an A and said, use more paragraphs next time. So, like, if you see a sudden change in behavior in a younger person, there's a reason why. Like shoplifting, fire, weed, drinking, getting suspended, getting detentions, getting caught on class trips, getting threatened by the principal. Like, writing this essay that screamed, I need help. And I don't know if it was a sign of the times, but it was all right there. And, nobody picked up on it.
What's interesting about your case is that, because I know there's a lot of cases where maybe victims' family and parents are not as involved in their lives and they might
Nah,
be missing
bro,
a lot of the larger signs.
you're right for this.
But it seems like your dad was picking up on these signs and he asked you multiple times
Yeah.
and you never told him what happened.
And I really,
Hey, thanks for the follow.
I've been asked, if I have regrets in life, like, do I regret owing $77,000 to the mob? Do I regret doing drugs? Do I regret, really the only, and it's tough to have this regret, but I do have this regret, like being a young boy and lying to my father when he asked me if Dennis Pegg ever touched me. And I just couldn't. The shame is there, and the pain is
That's
there.
tough. That's hard.
And my parents viewed me as the golden child for surviving this operation, and I just didn't want to become now the abused son who's tortured inside mentally. So I just told my dad, no, he never touched me.
Around the time that your dad starts asking you if Dennis Pegg ever touched you, there were some other kids that were talking about it.
Yeah, that's how it came out.
And nothing happened.
All right. Now just picture this. You have a 260-pound hulking lieutenant at the jail who's waiting out in the parking lot for young male inmates to get released so he can take them home to his house to mentor them. I'm a mentor. I'm going to give you a safe environment. You come live with me. We'll get you back on your feet. In the middle of the night, he would pounce on these young male inmates. Some ran away. Some didn't. Some probably froze like I froze. But the ones that ran away in the middle of the night in Stillwater, Stillwater is just like a little tiny rural town. And they would hitchhike. And when they would get picked up, they would tell the people, like, I just got out of jail, and this guy told me he would give me a safe place to stay, to get my feet back on the ground. And in the middle of the night, he's in my bed trying to do stuff with me. And it spread like wildfire around Stillwater. And that's where my father sat me down, said, did Dennis ever touch you? The first time he sat me down was probably a year after the...
Oh my gosh.
So I was probably 13. The
But that
second
has
time
inclination.
was when a waitress in a donut shop told my father over a cup of coffee that her son, who was a classmate of mine, same grade, from Stillwater, in the Boy Scouts, had been by Dennis. And my father came home after she said that, and this time he said, before you answer me, I just want you to know you'll never have to go to the cops. You'll never have to testify in court. I'll take care of Dennis myself. Did he ever touch you? So is my father saying, I'll kill Dennis? That's how I took it. And that's way too much weight to put your teenage son under. Like, as tempting as it was, like, I was tortured over that for a long time. Like, man, do I tell him? Do I tell him? Do I tell him? I want Dennis dead. Yeah, Dad could kill him. Dad could kill him. But then what if it goes wrong?
Dad.
What if Dad gets killed in the attack? Then it's my fault for telling him. What if Dad goes to prison for the rest of his life and I'm without a father. That's on me because I told him. So now I can't tell him. No, I can't. And I didn't tell him.
Do you think your dad would have?
I took control, went solo, and built my own
Not speaking to
online
man,
knife
but
empire.
if you have a kid and you found out that someone did something terrible like that to them, I don't know what you would do.
Yeah, because there's something later on in the book my dad told me on his deathbed, and that just confirmed that he would have done it.
How do you feel that it was you that killed Dennis rather than your dad?
Yeah, nobody's ever asked me that. I feel better that it was me instead of my dad. Because sending somebody else to do your work to... Like, look, if I did it and I was either on a suicide mission, I was either going to commit suicide after, or I was going to do life in prison. That's on me. I don't want to be responsible for sending somebody else to do life in prison to get mortally wounded maybe, or to commit suicide after they do it. I don't want that on my shoulders.
It seems by all accounts you were a very smart kid and you end up at Northeastern.
Yeah. And I never applied myself in high school. Like after the abuse, I just, everything was lacking, another sign, but I was really smart and I could do no work, get B's, C's. Somehow I got into Northeastern. They weren't as strict back then as they are now. Like now it's like uber tough to get in, but I got in and became a excellent student. I graduated cum laude.
And there is someone that you meet at Northeastern that's featured in your book?
Yeah. I Dennis Pegg did a lot of things that derailed a lot in my life. And one of the things he derailed was me being able to be intimate with a partner. And by intimate, I mean like open, like sex is one thing. Intimacy is a completely different thing. Mm. And I met this girl, Lisa, and she was so bubbly and outgoing, and she approached me. I was just studying by myself, and she came over and plopped down, and she was a whirlwind in my life. Mm-hmm. And she saw signs, though, even back then. Like, she would say to me, we would be laying together in bed, and I would have, like, soldiers come back from war and have 1,000-mile stare. Mm. I had that stare. And she'd be like, hello. And she'd be like in front of my face, and I'm still just like I wouldn't even acknowledge it. And then she'd hit me, and I'd be like, what? She's like, where are you in your mind right now? Like, mm-hmm. You are not present with me. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Played it off that she was nuts. The trauma of this abuse was still really fresh and raw, and I would
welcome
lost
everybody
in thought about it. And we had an amazing connection, amazing love between us. I could tell her I loved her, and I did. We had passion, and we dated for 6 years, and she was ready to start our lives together, get married, mm-hmm. careers, family, whatever it would entail. And I couldn't do that.
Did you ever think about telling her, or?
No.
Why?
For a similar reason to my parents.
People look at you differently.
I didn't want to go from the cool, sexy, party animal, fun-loving boyfriend to the
Abuse.
wounded, broken wing duckling.
So you guys break up.
We break up.
Do you feel like she was... I mean, do you believe in soulmates? Is that a crazy question to ask someone your age? Or is that...
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Do you think that she was yours?
Yeah.
How long after college do you guys break up?
I was a year ahead of her. So I graduated, and then she graduated a year behind, and then like another year after that is when she's like, you know, what are we doing here? You know, I was just jerking her around at that time, and she's like,
Okay.
you know, she was living in the city. I was living in Jersey. I would go in for a weekend. We'd have an amazing time, but then I'd disappear for a month or two. And then show back up, have an amazing time, disappear again. And she's like, every time you disappear, you're breaking my heart. Like, what are you doing? And she's like, are we going to get our act together and get going on life together or not? And I go, I can't do that. Like, everything is subconscious with it, with abuse. It was just like the thought of getting married, being tied down, scares me to death. It makes me feel really uncomfortable because being tied down and scared to death is how I was in that guy's house. And I'm feeling trapped, and I felt trapped in that house. So just that trapped feeling, I can't feel trapped. I don't want to feel trapped. Don't make me feel trapped. I'm going to run if you make me feel trapped. You're making me feel trapped. I got to go. Sorry. And that's how it was. And that's how it was with careers. You know, like in my 20s, it was like 2 to 3 years in a career, and that was it. Like I'm getting really uncomfortable feeling. I'm feeling trapped. I'm feeling like just a lot of pressure. I'm just feeling like I'm just like getting pushed down into the ground. I gotta run. I gotta go. I was a prey caught in his snare. He had me trapped for years, and I just never wanted to feel that feeling again.
Just an interesting observation. You don't have to comment, but it's interesting because you feel that way with relationships and careers. But in your book, you don't use this terminology for your careers, but you do with Lisa. You have this tendency to write post-Lisa when describing certain events that happen after the breakup. It's very interesting.
Back in college, myself and my 2 roommates and Lisa and her 2 roommates, we all dated. So the 6 of us were always together. 2 of the couples didn't make it, Lisa and I being one, but one of the couples did. They got married.
After college, you guys break up. You're in... The FBI's calling you. The mob is after you. Everything is kind of everywhere. And then you kill Dennis Pegg.
Yeah.
Like, in your darkest time, you never thought, like, maybe I should reach out to her?
Constantly. Over the decades, constantly.
What stopped you?
Just the way I was living, the shape I was in, the shape my life was in. Like, I had so many grandiose
Thanks for the follow. Appreciate
fantasies about finding Lisa and sweeping her off her feet and riding off into the sunset. But I've got the mob wanting to kill me. Like, I'm really going to bring her into that. I'm going to go find her, sweep her off her feet, ride off into the sunset. But I'm addicted to drugs and alcohol. Really? I'm going to bring her into that.
So you don't...
So there was never a good time. I talked myself out of it. I would talk myself into it, and then I talked myself out of it.
So you don't not reach out because of you. You don't not reach out for her. Like, you don't want to bring her into these things, so...
Yeah, I don't want to hurt her all over again. Like, I knew I hurt her back in the day, And I cared so much for her, I didn't want to do that again. Like my life from the abuse to the murder, it was it was tumultuous to say the least. Like I was off wandering in the desert for 30 years, like just going down one bad path after another. And I couldn't bring her into that.
So now you're in jail, you're facing life in prison after the killing, you're withdrawing from drugs, you have a hole in your hand. I mean, what are your options? To plead insanity? Like, do you have any options at this point? What's going on in your mind the first night in jail?
Well, they put me
In the
suicide cell,
yeah.
which is exactly where I needed to be.
Do the lights turn off in there?
No.
I feel like that makes things worse, no? Okay.
You know, the camera's in there, and you know, it's on you, and
Oh, I took the wrong one.
yeah, it was hell.
Wrong layer.
I think what's interesting is I was reading through all of like the psychiatric reports that were done when you were in jail. Did you feel like a lab rat? It seems like there's so much debate about your state of mind. Do you feel like you're just being poked and prodded at? And
Yeah, like those psych exams were like nerve-wracking. You know, it was, you know, because some of the stuff they had you do is just, you know.
they would show you pictures and try to get you to describe the scenario, the scene.
Scene, yeah.
It's very
And
interesting.
you know, and then like I had to do the Rorschach test, the ink blots.
Yeah.
And like, and you got to come up with what it looks like. And it's
Hello,
just,
me too. Welcome.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track
Let's
of
work
all
on
my
the
tasks.
goals on this.
I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view. Next, I set a priority and a due date to keep things on track. I create custom statuses to organize my progress exactly how I want it.
I'm gonna use.
I like to
this
add the
short
action
here.
items field so AI can show me the next steps. I add my teammates
Gotta
as
get this
watchers
sense of
so they're in the loop. ClickUp makes work easy, from personal projects to running a multi-billion-dollar company. Click the link below to create your workspace for free.
oh my God. And I thought like one wrong answer, like they would like, he cannot get out for the rest of his life. Boom. You know, like I just thought like, how is, and the pressure you put yourself under to try to answer things right, that just makes it worse. Cause then you're like, oh, it was, and like 500 multiple choice tests. Like, boom, you gotta take this 500 multiple choice test. Like, and they ask you the same question in that multiple choice test 4 different ways, seeing if you, like, they'll reword it, but it's the same question to see if you answer differently, you know.
It seems like you were honest. I don't know. This is one. So you were shown a picture that is not provided, but you say that it appears to be a man who's pulling away. She's trying to hold him and talk to him. Maybe he drinks too much and has anger problems. So it feels like you took these tests very seriously. Like, it doesn't seem like you were trying to answer how they wanted.
Almost feels like I'm talking about Lisa and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you get to prison, eventually, you have to carry around a file so that if someone accuses you of being a pedophile, prisoners will show their file. Were there a lot of pedophiles getting beaten up in prison?
There's a lot of fights, but it wasn't
Thanks for the
necessarily
follow, Demon Overload.
pedophiles
Appreciate
getting
that.
beaten up. Believe it or not, the prison likes the pedophiles because they're the snitches. It's like they use them
That's so interesting.
to be snitches. So like they, you know, like they hate what they did, but they use that against them to get info out of them. So on the unit I was on, I was told by my therapist that 2 out of 3, I was told 1 out of 3, closer to 2 out of 3 guys on my unit was there for a crime, mostly involving children. I was like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, oh, yeah. And I And then, I was told, one of the guards told me, like, oh, yeah, they're
That's
our
crazy.
snitches for us. Like, they give us all the dirt on guys.
If you hear about a pedophile that gets beaten up in jail, did you feel anything? Were you just like...
Well, in the county jail, the tier I was on was not supposed to have any. And yet, somehow, I was told by paperwork getting mixed up, they kept putting pedophiles on my tier in the county jail. And the guards in the county jail hated the pedophiles. The pedophiles in prison, they use them. In the county jail, they hated them. And they would come up to me and be like, that guy that just came on, he's a kitty toucher. So, like, they would be, like, egging me on to, like, do something.
But that would have made your life exponentially harder as well.
Yeah, and I was cognizant of, like, what will that look like to go to trial, to go to sentencing, and all I've been doing my whole time here is beating up pedophiles. Like,
Yeah.
how could they possibly release me then? But I would tell them, myself and another guy would go sit down with them. And I did this a couple times early on, and then I just let two other guys, and we would just say, look, man, we got word that you're a kitty toucher. You know what they call them in there? I don't even know if I put it in the book.
I don't think so.
Tree jumper.
Why?
Think of the guy with an overcoat on, hiding behind a tree, and then a little kid walks by and they jump out and open their overcoat. Tree jumper. So, like, that's what they're called here. Like, out west in California, they call them chomos.
Yes, I heard that phrase.
Oh,
Child molester. Chomos, they call them. But here in Jersey, New York, they're tree jumpers. And sort of, the guards would either say kitty toucher or that's a tree jumper. And we would just be like, sit down with them at a table and be like, look, bro, we're told you're a tree jumper and you got to go. You got to hit the button. You could go over, there's a button by the door and you press the button and the guards would be like, what do you want? And you say, I want to check in. Means protective custody.
Oh.
So I did that a couple times. I'm like, look, if we're wrong, I apologize. But it's not safe for you to stay here because that's the word now. And somebody's going to come after you. And they'd be like, it's not me, man. I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that. And we'd get up and be like, sorry, bro. And we'd walk away. And within a minute, they'd go over to the button and be like, I need protective custody.
So you never wanted to maybe punch one?
No, like I wasn't there. Like if, and I've said this, like if I got a life sentence,
Maybe
then all bets were off.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
I wasn't, and my therapist told me about how many were on my unit because she didn't want me to do anything stupid. She goes, don't tell the guys on your unit what you're here for.
Yeah.
Because it's called putting a battery pack on your back and amping you up. So she go like, if the guys know what you're here for, they're going to put a battery pack on your back and try to get you amped up to go do something stupid. I go, nobody's going to make me do anything I don't want to do. Yeah. I go, they're not putting any battery pack on I go, and in the psych exam, they asked me, like, how do we know you're not a risk to harm other people? And I'm like, unless you were the person who abused me, I'm not out to avenge every pedophile out there. I go, just the one that abused me. So,
what was worse, the mice or the cockroaches?
oof. Well, I was on the top bunk, so I didn't have to necessarily deal with the mice. To me, the cockroaches were worse because they would like fall on you while you're trying to sleep.
What Wow.
Do you want to lay down tonight and have a cockroach fall on you? You
No.
scream and you're like, "Ah!" That was in a place called
goodness.
CRAF,
Okay.
CRAF. And that's
That's
when you
crazy.
leave the county jail to go to prison, you have to go to this place to
Sorry, I
get
can't read that.
classified
Is
which
that
prisons
German or
suit you
something?
best. And
Well, hello,
it's-
welcome.
They purposely
Thanks for
have it
following.
as a hellhole to like
Just get saved real quick.
frighten you from never wanting to come back into the prison system. And the guards are frightening, and the mice are frightening, and the cockroaches are frightening, and everything's disgusting. And it's just like, you don't want to go back to Craft. Craft was hell.
I mean, how is prison in general? But like, how bad is bad? I mean, I see people are flushing
Thanks
their
for
heads
following.
in
I appreciate
toilets
that.
for drugs, for smoking marijuana.
Well, those
We're
toilets are
pretty
like
much,
the airplane toilets. You know,
Let's
it's
go
just
pause
like
this here for a
sucks.
second. I was saving my file and backing up. We're pretty much done this drawing. I think I add all the details, the highlights, and all that stuff. I think we're done. Yeah, I'm gonna post this. I'm gonna make a TikTok video of this, and I'll post it. But we're pretty much done this Chun Li drawing. Then yeah, like we see, feel free to follow. Links are in the bio, as you can see right here. And yeah, we'll probably end the stream right here. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for chilling and watching with me. I hope you guys have a good one. See you on the next stream. And right. Bye.